What's going on, everybody? Welcome on in to our Week 15 NFL show. Luckily, this week we got some Saturday and some Sunday NFL football for you guys. Myself, Riggs Tamburo, with Mr. Bryson Owens. Give him a follow at Bryson Owens 16. Myself at Riggs Sports Talk, and please follow the Sports Forum at Denver Forum. Guys, we got 3 Saturday games, and you already know we're covering all 3 Saturday games because nothing better than Saturday in FL. Starting here with the very first game on the board, we're going to go straight down the actual order here. Minnesota Vikings and the Cincinnati Bengals. Vikings, they come into this game 3-point dogs, sitting Josh Dobbs, playing Nick Mullins. Cincinnati Bengals at home, -3. Jake Browning looking good, 40.5 points on this over-under, man. Cincinnati Bengals, are you willing to trust Browning and lay 3 points?
I'm not. I'm actually going to take the Minnesota Vikings, even if they're going to their now third-string quarterback with Nick Mullins. I actually like Nick Mullins a lot. He's been a journeyman backup quarterback. He's been trusted by a lot of smart NFL offensive coaches in his career, so I think they have a lot of faith in him. And my real faith with this Vikings team comes with a couple of things. One, their offensive line is one of the best in the NFL. PFF has them ranked 8th in the NFL so far this year, and it's a legit offensive line. And this Bengals pass rush, it's not great. They're below league average when it comes to pass rush win percentage, below league average when it comes to sacks. They don't have Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard are good defensive linemen, but they're not game changers, in my opinion, on that defensive line. And then it comes to this Minnesota defense, and it is legit. They are top 10 in a bunch of categories, most notably top 10 against the run. They're 5th against the run. They're 5th in points allowed per game. A lot of that helps with giving up 0 points a week ago to the Chargers or to the Raiders. So that helps a lot. But even then, they're 14th in passing yards allowed. They're really good on third down. Like, this is a really good defense. It's by far the best defense Jake Browning has played so far in his stint with the Bengals.
I agree.
So I think he's going to struggle a little bit there. And this Bengals defense, it's not great. It's opportunistic. They can create turnovers, but you can move the ball on them. And if Nick Mullins is smart, he's got Justin Jefferson coming back, so he's got weapons all over the field. If Nick Mullins is smart, he doesn't turn the ball over, he keeps the offense moving, I think the Vikings have a real chance to stay in this game.
I hear you, but I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. I really like the Cincinnati Bengals in this game. I don't want to lay 3 points, but if I have to go 3 points on either side here, I will lay it. If it has a hook on it come game time, I will not lay 3.5 points. I'll put them in a parlay, maybe a same game parlay or something else with another money line, something like that. But Bengals -3. Jake Browning continues to do what he has to do. I think that Colts team that he smacked around last week, I thought that was a pretty darn good football team, which, by the way, we're talking about them next. But I like the Bengals here. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Joe Mixon, running back for Cincinnati, actually has a big game in this game. And I don't say that about Joe Mixon, man. As you know, I don't trust this guy at all. He catches the ball. He touches the ball 17 times, and he gets 36 yards. Like, he drives me freaking crazy. But I think this is a game where Joe Mixon looks comfortable, gets going. You know, the coaching staff have said over there, you know, this has been a step-by-step process with Browning, but it's really working out. They're 2-1 under the kid. I think the Colts game was a harder game than this game, and they outscored them 20-0 in the second half. So I really like the Bengals here. No offense to Minnesota. I already said on What's Your Take earlier in the week, I don't believe that the Minnesota Vikings should have benched Josh Dobbs. I get why they did, but I don't think they're better off without Josh Dobbs. So I'm just going to fade this football team here. On top of everything going on, they're also on the road, and I just think Cincinnati here is the better football team. I'll lay 3 points. 40.5 points, though, on this over-under. Are they going to go over?
This one's really tough because I mentioned that the Minnesota Vikings are 5th in the NFL in points allowed per game. A lot of that, like I mentioned, the Raider game helped. This Bengals defense is 19th, so it's not terrible. It's a below league average in that regard. My problem is I don't see either offense having a huge game. I know you mentioned Jake Browning, who's been incredible. I'll give Jake Browning his credit. He's been really good for them. He's played a couple bad defenses. The Jacksonville Jaguars defense was not very good when they played him. And this Colts defense, it's not been good all year. So he's been able to take advantage of some bad defenses while the Vikings like I mentioned, they have, in my opinion, a top 10 defense in this league. And the Vikings, they just struggled to score 3 points in a winning effort against the Raiders a week ago. So I don't see either offense pouring it on, even though there's a ton of talent on that field offensively. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, though. I don't see either team breaking 21 points.
I have to agree with you guys. And what we're going to be doing today is, if we're going to take the over, we're going to give you guys some touchdown scores. But if we don't like the over, we're not going to give you touchdown scores because that logic just doesn't go together. So I'm with you on the under, man. I think it's going to be a low scoring, pretty ugly game. As I already said, I don't trust Mullins to get this offense going. I don't think Minnesota is no way. I don't think they're good for more than 16 points here. And for that reason, I do think the other side can put up 20. I think you're looking at about a 36, 37 point game, depending on, whichever way you want to cut it, maybe 23-17. And that's 40 points right there. But the 40.5 is just enough for me to say, you know what? I'll stay under there, guys. So we're both going under. I'm going to go with Cincinnati. Bryson going to try the dog with the points here on the road. Jumping on over to game number 2, and I'm getting spoiled with this one. That is the Colts and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers, they're actually getting a little bit of respect here, man. They were 3-point dogs when the week started, 2.5-point dogs as of yesterday, 1.5-point dogs as of today. So this line is coming down, man. Pittsburgh Steelers on the road, 1.5 points. Colts -1.5, coming off a tough loss, but they're still fighting for their division as well. Lot at stake in this football game. 42.5 on the over-under. Looking at the money line, or if you like the spread, I guess, which way you going?
I'm going to go with the Colts here. At home, the Colts have the home field advantage, and the Steelers are coming off an embarrassing loss. I'm sorry, Riggs. That was a tough loss against Bailey Zappi and the New England Patriots. The Colts offense is a lot better than the Patriots offense. Gardner Minshew's playing really, really good football. I don't love the Colts defense. I think the Steelers have a chance to move the ball against them and keep it relatively close. I think they're going to have a better performance offensively than they did a week ago. But ultimately, I think this Colts offense is better. I think they're playing at a high level. They're at home. Both teams fighting for playoff chances, but the Colts are fighting for even more because, like you mentioned, they have a better chance at that division. And with who the Jaguars are playing, which we'll talk to later, the Colts have a chance to sneak up and win that division. And so I think they're going to come out with their hair on fire. I think they're pissed off about losing to Jake Browning a week ago. And I think at home in that crowd, they're going to show up and play really well against the Steelers.
I don't blame you at all, man. And I have gone very, very back and forth on this game. Yes, folks, I will tell you, I might go to bat for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I'm also a realist. I'm also a sports bettor, and I don't take things based off how my heart feels. I go off of true numbers and everything like that. And I'm here to tell you right now, I liked the Steelers at 3, Bryson. I leaned the Steelers at 2.5. I'm getting a little worried with it being this low because honestly, I think the Colts are the better football team today, right now. However, dude, they got kind of smacked up by the Bengals. And I know we got smacked up by the Patriots. Oh my God, somehow. Now, with that said, Steelers, they were one drive away. They were a few plays away from actually winning that football game. So give them a little bit of credit. It might have been a bad loss, but let's all be real here. We all can sit here and say that Bailey Zappi was on fire, bro.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened. You know, it's embarrassing for TJ Watt. It's embarrassing for this defense, but the dude looked good. He just did. I don't even think the Steelers looked bad. I just don't think the Steelers were expecting him to be good. And all of a sudden he came out there confident, slinging the ball, and they were like, whoa, this is not what we planned for. As you saw, after halftime, they locked him down. They didn't let Bailey Zappi do nothing in the second half, but the first half was just enough to screw them. I don't think they walk into this game complacent. They know Gardner Minshew can play football. They know Jonathan Taylor can run the football. Zach Moss, they know that these guys are a good football team. So with all of that said, Bryson, I have to go with where the numbers are going. So I have to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I want the 1.5 points here. I think this is a 21-20 kind of football game, 17-16. It's going to be ugly. It might not be the best game ever. 42 points, kind of surprising if I'm being honest. But I think Mitch Trubisky gets comfortable in this one. And I know,
okay,
coming off of what just happened, everyone's like, oh, you mean the guy that threw it 30 yards on 3rd and 2 and 4th and 2 to screw him on the game? Yeah, that guy. The guy that had George Pickens open 9 times and didn't throw it to him? Yeah, that guy.
yep.
I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers here, plus 1.5 points, folks. It's going to be a close game. I might be wrong, but there's a reason. With everyone fading the Pittsburgh Steelers, why are they continuing to come down on the line? I'm just playing the numbers. That's all I'm doing here. And I trust Mike Tomlin to find a way to go above 500 and make a playoff push as well. So this game is a slept-on good football game, folks. Good luck, whichever side you choose to go on. 42 points. I just said I don't think this game breaks 41, so I'm going to go under here. Do you think that that's kind of a trap, though?
I think it could be. I think I'm going to take the over in this game. The Colts put up points in bunches. They're one of the better offenses in the NFL when it comes to scoring the ball. They're 8th in the NFL at 24.2 points per game. And even though I don't love the Steelers offense, I do think Mitchell Trubisky has a better game than he did a week ago. He looked more comfortable in the second half. That offense was moving the ball better in the second half against the Patriots. And if you look at the Colts, they've been giving up a lot of points to offenses that I think are on par or maybe worse than the Steelers. They gave up 20 to the Bucs, 28 to the Titans, 34 to the Bengals. Like the Colts are giving up a lot of points recently. I think the Steelers offense falls somewhere within that range of those 3 teams. So I could easily see this being a 27-24 type game and shocking people with how high scoring it can be.
Yeah, that's my fear here. It's just like the spread in this game. There's something trappy about this game. Everyone's going to go under. Everyone's going to go with the Colts here. And I don't blame anybody for taking either of those sides here, but I can only be on one of those sides. So I'm going to go Pittsburgh. I am going to go under. Bryson, he's going to go Colts, but he's going to go over. So good luck in that game, guys. That is the midday game on Saturday. Going to be a fun one. Jumping on over to the Saturday night game, our Denver Broncos are in action in a very, very big primetime game for both sides here. Denver Broncos, they are 4.5-point underdogs. They were 5.5-point underdogs when the week started, but here we are. Detroit Lions minus 4.5 over under a high scoring 47.5 points in this game. Bryson, which way are you going?
I like you with the Steelers. I'm trying really hard to not be the fan on this one. But listen, I'm taking the Broncos at plus 4.5. They are playing, in my opinion, the better football right now. I think the Lions have been pretty below average by their standards lately, especially on defense. That defense is not playing well at all. And the Broncos offense, they're moving the ball. They're putting up points. Russell Wilson, to his credit, had a bad game against Houston during this winning streak that they've kind of been on. He's been playing really good football. They're running the ball well. This Lions team, they can't stop me from scoring right now. I think anyone can put up points on them. And I know they're in Detroit. I know it's a tough place to play. But if you're asking me, who's playing the better football right now? It's the Denver Broncos. Who's playing the better defense right now? It's easily the Denver Broncos. And who's got the better coach? It's Sean Payton. So in a must-win game, I think I like the Broncos' chances at plus 4.5 on this one.
Is Sean Payton the better coach?
Sean Payton is 100% the better coach. He is,
do you think most
in my
people
opinion,
would agree with you?
I think most people would. I love Dan Campbell. I think he's a really good coach. I think he's more the emotional fan favorite than the actual better coach in this one. I think he's a perfectly good head coach. He is more than deserving to be a head coach in this league. But I think Sean Payton, pound for pound, his resume stacks up with almost anyone else in this league. So I would take Sean Payton over almost anyone in today's game besides maybe Andy Reid.
Wow. Okay. Well, look, man, I'm with you on this one in the sense of I'm trying not to buy into the Broncos hype because my fear is the minute that I get sucked into it, they're going to lay a freaking egg and we're all going to be like, oh, yep, there it is. We knew it. We were waiting for that team to come out. They've escaped a few games. They've had a couple close wins. They had a couple come from behind game-winning drive wins. Like, It's been a scary road to get on this win streak, but they're on a win streak and they find ways to win football games. Guys, the Detroit Lions right now, we talked about it on Pick and Winners earlier this week. Dude, this football team, they're not just losing. They're getting embarrassed. Does everybody remember Thanksgiving, the most watched game of the freaking year? This football team looked like a bunch of high school kids out there playing again. When you make Jordan Love look like a top 3 quarterback, we got a problem. Okay. That's a problem in this game. And Jared Goff, man, I like Jared Goff. We talked about him on What's Your Take? Is he a game manager? He better be in this one. He better figure out how to be a game manager and just take care of the football here, because his turnover problem is going to bite him in the butt here against the Broncos if he's not careful. So I'm with you, dude. I'm sorry, guys. If you want to take Lions money line and you want to take them to win the game, I don't blame you. But 4.5 points. Who's laying 4.5 points here with the Lions, dude? I don't get it. I know you look at the public, it's pretty much 50-50 right now on which side. Denver Broncos, they are getting 55%, but that's basically 50-50. It's not like we're walking into a trap game or something like that. So, guys, Denver Broncos plus 4.5 points. I know the Lions, if they play their best game, they're probably better than the Broncos on their best game. But we are not seeing the best Lions right now. And like me and Bryson are both saying, even if the Lions pull out a good game and win, if you don't think the Denver Broncos keep this thing close and make this competitive, we must be watching two different kinds of football right now. So I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos plus the 4.5 points as well. If it gets to 5 guys, it doesn't really change anything. Shout out to 5 Guys, man. We got to get a 5 Guys sponsor. Oh my God, that sounds good.
Yes, sir.
But hey, shout out to 5 Guys. But if it goes to like 3.5 or something like that, I think you got to be a little bit more cautious. But honestly, if they're giving you anything more than a field goal in a very winnable football game with so much on the line, how do you not take it here? So both going to go Denver Broncos plus 4.5. Now, Bryson, over under 48 total points in this game. You can find it at 47.5. All depends on where you're looking, but that's pretty high scoring. Do you think the over still hits?
I actually am going to take the under in this game. And you all know something wild about this season for the Denver Broncos. Everyone remembers the 70-point game that we gave up to the Dolphins. And everyone remembers the first 4 weeks we had the worst scoring defense in NFL history. You want to know what's wild? The Broncos have a better scoring defense right now than the Detroit Lions. The Broncos are 23rd in the NFL at its scoring defense. The Lions are 25th in the NFL. So even though these teams, on paper, they give up a lot of points, this Broncos defense the last few weeks, it's been absurd. You take out the Texans game, and they've been averaging less than 18 points per game allowed on defense. It's playing at a really high level. I think both teams are going to look to run the ball because neither team, especially with the injuries the Detroit Lions have, neither team is great at stopping the run. So I think you're going to see a lot of run plays, a lot of clock being eaten up. It's not going to be a lot of drives for each team. I think this is a game where both teams, they're going to settle for field goals. They're going to take points whenever they can get them. And that way you're not going to see a lot of touchdowns in the red zone, I don't think. I think 48 points is too high. I see this being somewhere around not saying who wins with this score, somewhere around a 23-20 type of game.
Okay. I'm going to flip the script here, and I'm going to go with the over. And I ain't going to lie to you. It scares me a little bit. But here's the thing. Jordan Love exposed you. Justin Fields exposed you. Russell Wilson, let's ride, baby. I need you to put your stuff on. I need you to hit that stretching on the plane. And we need to walk up in here, and we need to just fire at these guys right out the gate, man. Javonte Williams, he's getting his wheels going. I like where this Broncos offense is trending to. It's finally, after a year and a half, it's finally the offense that we expect it to be. And honestly, Jerry Jeudy ain't really doing nothing. Mims ain't really doing nothing. Tim Patrick ain't even here, and they're still finding a way to get this offense really starting to turn. I like the tight end work here that we're getting to. Need to keep utilizing the tight end. I think we're going to put a hurting on the Lions. I think the Broncos are good for at least, I'm going to say 24 points in this game. Okay. And the spread's 4.5. So even if I give the Lions 28 and I say that they don't cover in the game and Broncos cover, that's 52 points here. So I'll throw it out. Even if it's 28-23, it's over. I think one of these teams very well could get to 30, but I think this is a mid-20s and a high 20s. I don't know which side is going to be the 28 or the 27, but I think the other side is right there at 23, 24. So I'm going to go over. I know we said we're only going to give you guys touchdown scores if we both go over, but since it's such a high scoring game and Bryson's still right there for it being high scoring, but not quite going over, let's look at a couple touchdown scores here, man. You got David Montgomery, running back, Lions, minus 140. Jahmyr Gibbs, the other running back for them, at minus 120. Their tight end, Sam Laporta, at minus 105. Their wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, at plus 115. And then you get the Broncos players, man. I do got to ask you, are you surprised to see the first 4 guys on the board being Lions?
No, they do have a more explosive, well-balanced offense. They have more guys that could beat you for a touchdown, where with the Broncos, it's kind of Courtland Sutton, and then maybe you get an Adam Troutman, maybe a Javonte Williams, maybe a Samaje Perine type of thing. So with the Broncos, you really have one guy who's good for a touchdown pretty much every week right now. And then you have like 4 or 5 guys who could sneak in. So I'm not too surprised that it's mostly Lions at the top.
Shout out 5 guys again, man. Oh, man. But anyway, as you guys can tell, it's been a long day. But look, man, if you had to take a guy outside of Courtland Sutton, because I know you're a Courtland Sutton guy. Anthony's been a Courtland Sutton guy. Guys, by the way, if you're looking for a Denver Broncos article, sportsforumdenver.com, check it out. Go do it. If you're looking for some Broncos tickets, sportsforumdenver.com. Click one little button that says click here and get your butt in the giveaway. We're giving away 2 tickets, guys. You do not want to miss that. But outside of Courtland Sutton, man, if you had to pick one of the 3 running backs on the board, Javonte Williams at plus 115, Gibbs at minus 120, Montgomery at minus 140, which guy would you pick?
Man, that one's kind of tough. I like the odds. If you look at the odds and who I think can get in, I like Jahmyr Gibbs the most. I know David Montgomery's kind of been their touchdown guy at the running back position. Javonte Williams, he's been a yards guy for the Broncos. He has not been a touchdown guy for us this season. But Jahmyr Gibbs is the most dynamic of the 3. And I think we're going to get in a situation where I don't think Jahmyr Gibbs runs it in. I think he could be spread out wide to the slot, and Jared Goff just finds him on a little slant route, quick touchdown there. So I think Jahmyr Gibbs, just the threat he has both in the run game and the passing game, scares me the most out of those 3 to get in.
It's so tough, right? Because you feel like whichever guy you take on the Lions, they're going to screw you. And it's going to be the other guy. Here's the thing, though, guys. I have the over, and I can see both of those guys getting in. So if Bryson wants to go with Gibbs, I know I asked him about running back, so I'm going to flip the script on you here. I'm going to go with one other guy on each team. I love Sam Laporta. I've loved Sam Laporta all year. Let me throw out there, Bet MGM, Bet 365. You're looking at Laporta plus 140, plus 150. Those are crazy odds for him to get in, guys. I love Sam Laporta anytime. Tight end for the Lions if you're looking for that. And then, look, man, I do like Sutton. I do like Javonte. I'm not high on Jerry Jeudy. Never have been, never will be. I like Adam Troutman at plus 300 anytime for the Denver Broncos. I just talked about this guy. Really like him here. I think he sneaks one in. Everybody's looking at Courtland Sutton. Eyes always go to Jerry Jeudy. We have used Javonte Williams out of the backfield on that little quick pitch and catch kind of thing. So who's going to sneak there, be uncovered? You're going to see the Lions defenders look at each other like, bro, that was you. No, bro, that was you. And it's going to be Troutman sitting there doing his little dancey dance in the end zone. So I just see that one. So I guess we'll see what happens, guys. But that is it for the touchdown scores. That is it for the Lions and the Broncos. Shout out to the boys. Let's go get this one done. If the Broncos win this one, I think it's fair to say they're in the playoffs. So hopefully they can get this thing done, man. Jumping on over to a 2:25 p.m. game. This one is going to be on Sunday, is the Dallas Cowboys and the Buffalo Bills. And a lot of people are surprised by the line in this game. The Dallas Cowboys on an absolute tear right now. They magically have Micah Parsons as the defensive player of the year. Fraud. But they also have Dak Prescott as a front runner for the MVP as well. Dallas Cowboys, man, they're getting 2 points on the road in Buffalo against the Bills team, who respectfully, all they've done is beat a mediocre Chiefs team in the past few weeks to be at this point. But first of all, are you surprised to see the Bills favored in this game? And second of all, if you're not, are you taking them?
I am surprised to see the Bills favorite. I know that the running joke with the Cowboys this season for a long time was that they can only play at home and that they can only beat bad teams. Their winning streak was on against a bunch of teams below 500. And now you've got the Buffalo Bills, who have a winning record now in Buffalo, one of the toughest places to play. So I get why the odds makers did this, but I think they're losing money because making the Cowboys plus money here is insane to me. I think the Cowboys are the better team. That defense is playing at an all-time high level. We mentioned it before. Josh Allen is having a turnover problem. He's scoring a lot of touchdowns, but he's also going to give you 2 or 3 chances at an interception or a fumble. And this Cowboys team is not the team you want to give those chances to. I told you on our show, what's your take on who is the defensive player of the year? In my opinion, DaRon Bland and all of his interceptions, the pick sixes. I see at least one for him in this game. I don't see Stephon Diggs, he hasn't done anything the last few weeks. I don't see him doing anything against this Cowboys defense. I think the pass rush is going to be too much for them to handle. There's going to be too many chances. We're late in the game. The Bills are keeping it close, and Josh Allen sees a chance to make a big play, and it just doesn't turn out well for them. So I just think the Cowboys are playing well, and the way that the Cowboys are playing, I think can translate to a road game in Buffalo. You play good defense, and you run the football. You let Dak make the easy throws. That's how you win on the road. And so I think the Cowboys are just the better team. I think that they're going to beat the Bills here. So, of course, I'm going to take the Cowboys +2.
What is going on with this number?
I don't know.
It feels like a trap. Like you said, they're going to lose a lot of money here. It sure damn feels like they are because books don't like giving you +110 on the Dallas Cowboys. But, guys, you have to take a couple things in consideration here. Yes, Bryson, you already mentioned it, dude. I'll be honest. I do think that the Cowboys play a lot better at home. I do think that they're in trouble going outdoors, playing an outdoor game in cold Buffalo. They like to play in their little heated stadium up there in Dallas. That's going to be already something new for them. Josh Allen, I saw something in that boy last week, bro. He had that look back like, I'm back. Let's like game time, December football. I'm here to play. I'm making the playoffs. There's no way I'm not making the playoffs. But you know me, and I don't like Stephon Diggs. I think the Cowboys, DaRon Bland, they're going to mark up Stephon Diggs here. And I don't think Stephon Diggs is going to be the weapon. So can they get the football to their other pieces? Can they utilize their tight end, their backup tight end? James Cook, he's looked a lot better, but he still has had more games that he hasn't looked good than he has looked good. I'm trying to defend a case here for the Buffalo Bills. The problem, Bryson, there's not enough there. I'm trying so hard, but I can't do it. I have to go Dallas Cowboys. With that said, I'm taking the 2 points here. I'm actually not going to go money line. I don't blame anybody for doing it. Usually 2 points does absolutely nothing for me, but I can see this being a 24-23, 1 point kind of game. Also, Mike McCarthy drives me more crazy than any coach in the entire NFL. And if there's anybody who's going to do some dumb shit and go for 2 points or do something stupid, it's Mike. We're going to go for 2. We're going to go for the win or something like that. I don't know, bro. He's going to do something dumb to make them lose by 1 or 2 points in this game. So I need every point I can get with Mike McCarthy. If this thing hits 3, I might slam this line, Bryce. It might be like a 3-4 unit kind of bet here if it hits 3, but at 2, I'm cool with it. Do it for 1 unit. We're going to find out. It feels like a trap, folks. If you guys have a better case for us and you want to defend the Bills, please comment below. Let us know why you think the Bills are going to win this game. But as of right now, I don't see how it's not a straight pick 'em, if anything. So both going Dallas Cowboys here. Now, 50.5 total points in this game. Obviously, the Bills, they're known for their offense. Their defense has really been struggling this year. Dallas Cowboys, they average 41 points a game at home. They average 31 points a game when they're not at home. Do you think the over 50.5 hits in this chilly game in Buffalo?
That's the tough one because it is going to be cold, so there may not be as many chances for shots downfield. Even with that said, I'm going to take the over in this game. These are 2 of the most high-powered offenses in the NFL. The Cowboys lead the NFL in points per game at 32.4. The Bills are 5th in the NFL at 26.8. So these 2 teams put up points in bunches. I do see, because I know you mentioned we might talk about touchdown scorers later. I do see a defensive touchdown for the Cowboys. Josh Allen's thrown a pick in 9 straight games. The Cowboys are 4th in the NFL with 13 picks on the year. So I see a pick 6 coming in this game, maybe from my guy DaRon Bland. But with that, I think every drive in this game has a chance to score points, whether it's field goals, defensive touchdowns, offensive touchdowns. I can even see maybe a safety happening in this game. This is one of those games where any chance you have to score points, going for 2, like I can see every possibility of a point scoring in this game happening. So I'm going to take the over in this one.
Just to counter that really quickly, I will say I also can see every world in which they all go for it on 4th down and they come away with freaking nothing all the time.
I can see that too.
4th and 2, go for it. 4th and 3, go for it. 4th and 7, go for it. And we're all sitting there like, oh my God, you have Tyler Bass kick the damn field goal and they're not going to do it. I want to take some field goal props in this game, but I'm terrified because Mike McCarthy, he don't like to kick field goals. And there's a good chance the Bills won't be able to kick field goals because they're going to have to go shot for shot here. And if they're both going to take shots, then they might as well just match each other and say, okay, well, you want to go for it on 4th? We're going to go for it on 4th. This has a playoff, all chips in kind of feel to it. So I'm with you here. I'm going to go over the 50.5 points here. You have to imagine one of these teams gets to 30 or 31 points if they want to win this thing. The other team shouldn't be too far behind, even if it's like 31-27, like guys, you're talking way over 31-24, like you're there. We're already over here. So both going to go with 50.5 on the over. Bryson mentioned it, which means we also see touchdowns flying in this game. Let's take a look here at some of these. Starting here with the favorite, Stefon Diggs. Well, they always do this on DraftKings. They drive me nuts. They put the favorite, the second guy. CeeDee Lamb, -130. Stefon Diggs at -120. Made this a little bit bigger for you guys so you guys can see it. Josh Allen to get in anytime is +100. Tony Pollard, -115. James Cook at 110. Tight end for Dallas, Mr. Jake Ferguson, who's been making a lot of noise this year, 165. And I will keep scrolling because I'm sure you have a guy past that. But what are you looking at here? Maybe one guy or one player on each side, maybe even a defensive scorer, because I know you're looking at Dallas.
So I mentioned I would take a shot on a defensive touchdown from Dallas just because Josh Allen is going to put the ball in harm's way. He's going to give the Cowboys a chance at a pick 6. So while it's not my favorite, I will lay a little bit on there. I like Josh Allen, a rushing touchdown on there. He has 10 rushing touchdowns on the season, and this can be one of those games where you could just see Josh Allen putting the Bills on his back to give him a chance to win. They get down in the red zone. Nothing's working. He looks over at the coaching staff. They give him a play. And he goes, no, I'm good. I got it myself. And he just runs it in himself. So he's probably my favorite Bill to get in, especially at that kind of odds. And then I'm going to go with him again. I like Jake Ferguson. I love me some Jake Ferguson. He's a rising tight end in this league. I think he's going to he has a chance to have a really good game in this one.
I love your Josh Allen pick just because, of course, you have to expect Josh Allen. Like I said, man, he's back in that Josh Allen mode. He looks pissed off again. He looks like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it myself kind of thing. I love when Josh plays like that. I love when he trucks people. He does not care. He's the last quarterback in the league that's going to slide. Shout out to Anthony Richardson. Sorry for that one, but I think it's been enough time I can make a joke about it. But he's the only quarterback that's like, screw it, I'm not sliding. I'm taking the shot here, and I'm going to get this. So I like Josh Allen for sure. Love your Jake Ferguson pick. The odds are just so good there. My big question, I want to ask you about this guy, CeeDee Lamb, to get in anytime, right? This is hard because it feels like if you fade him, you're an idiot. Because he gets in every single game at this point. -130, honestly, for how high scoring this game should be, I actually am kind of surprised that we're getting an odd this good. I've seen him all the way up to -115. Would you take a shot on CeeDee Lamb?
Oh, for sure. I think it, like you mentioned, you're almost insane to not take a shot on CeeDee Lamb. In a high-scoring game like this, I might even take it one step further. This is a bit risky, so I don't blame you if you don't love taking this one. If you just want to take CeeDee Lamb to score, go for it. I'm all for that one. I might take him to score 2 times at +425. I think that's a better one because, like I said, if the Cowboys are going to put up the points that we think they're going to and they're going to win this game, CeeDee Lamb's going to be pretty heavily involved. And this Bills defense, it's struggling against the pass. It seems like every quarterback has a field day against the secondary. So I'd like him to score a touchdown. I also like him to score at least 2.
I'm going to, first of all, say I do like your 2-touchdown pick there for CeeDee Lamb, but I'm personally not going to bet it just because there's so many guys that can score here that if I'm going to do that, I'd rather go like plus 1,000 and take Jake Ferguson twice or something like that, you know? But I'm with you there. I love him, guys. CeeDee Lamb to score. Let's just lock in those three. Let's go Jake Ferguson, CeeDee Lamb, and Josh Allen. I don't want to play with Stephon Diggs. I like both running backs with Tony Pollard and James Cook, but I do think this could be a game where we see all the other guys do it. If we're taking Josh Allen, we shouldn't take James Cook. And I like Tony Pollard. I know he's been on a touchdown streak, but once again, he's had more games where he hasn't scored than he has scored. So I'll stay off of Tony Pollard, but if I had to throw one more name in the hat, that would be my guy. Let's jump on over, guys. We got one more football game for you. Once again, dude, they stacked these primetime games. Another game with a lot of implications, even though some people appear to be sleeping on this game a little bit. That is the Baltimore Ravens and the Jacksonville Jaguars, man. The Jacksonville Jaguars, everybody knows Trevor Lawrence had those little injury issues. People are like, oh, well, they're screwed without Lawrence. First of all, he should be playing in this game. And second of all, the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, they are the #1 team right now in the AFC, only team with 10 wins. They are trying to hold on here because you already know other teams are coming to get it. Jacksonville being one of those teams. Bryson, Baltimore -3 on the road. Are you surprised by this line at all? Because I do think there's an argument that the line could be thicker.
I'm not too surprised by it. I think the odds makers are a little bit scared of how Baltimore got exposed a little bit by the Rams a week ago. I think they looked at that game like, oh, the Rams kind of figured stuff out on this Baltimore defense. It's one of the best defenses in the NFL. But I think smart, creative offensive minds with elite quarterbacks like LA, like Jacksonville, have a chance to expose some things. And you mentioned it. Trevor Lawrence had a terrifying injury against the Cleveland Browns a couple weeks ago. Had to be helped off the field. It didn't look good at all. Like the whole thing just looked ugly. Against the Bengals a few weeks ago. And then last week against the Browns, he played, he gutted it out. He didn't have a great game, but he moved the ball. The Jaguars scored points against the Cleveland Browns, which is not an easy defense to score against. No. They put up 27 points on probably the best home defense in the NFL. You've got Baltimore traveling. I kind of like Jacksonville +3.5. I don't think I think Baltimore has a chance to still win the game, but I can see it being a 2-point kind of game in this one because I think Jacksonville fighting for their division lives. They know the Colts and the Texans are coming up on them. And Baltimore, I think they've been exposed a little bit the last few weeks defensively.
And Bryson, I do want to throw out there, you said 3.5, and guys, on DraftKings right now, you are looking at Jacksonville, and you get the hook if you want the hook on DraftKings. Now, if you're betting on BetMGM, it's a solid 3 number. So depending on which side you're on, obviously, if you're on the Ravens, you do not want to lay a hook in this game. I'm with Bryson there. This is tough, dude, because if we were only looking at 3.5, I kind of like Jacksonville, if I'm being honest here. I like the Baltimore Ravens, but I'm on the take of, they're not frauds, but they're not that good. Like they're a good
they're not unbeatable.
Team, but they escape too many games. They don't have Mark Andrews, which is just a huge blow. OBJ has been actually playing very, very well. First of all, I do not expect that to continue. I just don't. Second of all, he even admitted it last week on 2 of his biggest plays. One of them, he ran the wrong route. The other one, he completely overran the football, which you could, Lamar didn't put it on him. I watched the play a couple different times, and honestly, I think that he just sprinted too fast. Like, that sounds dumb, but like, go watch the play. It looks like if he would have just looked, he wouldn't have done. And then he looked at the very last second. He was like, oh, crap. And he turned around and caught it. 2 huge plays that were a lot of game-changing plays. I don't think that continues in this game. I do like Baltimore. If I had to say who's going to win the game, I would say Baltimore is going to win the game. But if I'm looking at 3.5, I'm taking Jacksonville here. If I'm looking at 3, I guess I would lay it with Baltimore, but I'd rather put Baltimore in a money line parlay somewhere else and just rock with that. Because, guys, I think Baltimore win this game by 3 points. They might win it by 1 point, but they have one guy on their team, and his name's Justin Tucker, and he's the most clutch kicker of all time. I love Brandon McManus, too. I think he's going to bang a 50 or 55-yarder in this game, so if you want to bet longest field goal over 46.5 yards, put that one in. There's a sneaky prop for you. But I do like Jacksonville +3.5, but I like Baltimore to win in this game. Now, 42.5 points, man. A lot of people saying that this one looks a little bit too low. Are you on that train?
I do think it's a little bit too low. These are two really good offenses. The Jaguars, the last two games, 27 points and 31 points. They've been putting up points. I mentioned a week ago, a more injured Trevor Lawrence put up 27 against what I think is the best defense in the NFL. So I think they could put up points against this Ravens team. The Ravens, 4th in the NFL in scoring. Jags, 9th. These are two top 10 scoring offenses. I think both defenses have been a little bit exposed time to time. This Baltimore defense is legit. But like I mentioned, the Rams, with a lot less talent around Matthew Stafford, put up 31 points on them. So I think there's a chance that the Jaguars and this can put up points on this Ravens team. I think 42.5 is too low. I think both teams are going to be in the 20s in this game.
Bryson, this game either has a pathetic one of those games where the Ravens have 6 points, right? We've seen it happen where you're sitting there, you're going, what the hell? And I could see that here with Baltimore. I could see it being like 20-6 or something that's just so dumb that we're like, oh, well, so much for that game. Primetime unders, they've been cashing, but I'm with Bryson here. Guys, this has a heavyweight bout written all over it. This is a playoff type of football game. Going to be a nasty atmosphere in Jacksonville. I really like the over in this game. I think that we're looking at a 27-24 big time over, like Bryson's saying, 50-51 kind of points, maybe even more than that. I just feel like this is going to be shot for shot. Trevor Lawrence, Lamar Jackson, who wants it more? Who's going to hit the passes when needed? I can't lie to you. I feel like on a game-winning drive, I would probably prefer to have Trevor Lawrence and Jacksonville just because I think they have more on their side in this game. But once again, you give my boy Justin Tucker anything inside 63, that thing's going down. So good luck to you guys in there. We're both going over. And when we're both going over, folks, you know what that means. We got to look at a couple touchdown scores in this game. The favorite on the board right now, running back, the only guy in minus numbers, Mr. Travis Etienne Jr. for Jacksonville, minus 105. Lamar at 120. Gus Edwards, the running back there, at 130. Then you got guys like Calvin Ridley at 210. Zay Flowers at 210. Let's see where OBJ's coming in at, man. I'm surprised right now. 300 for OBJ. I'm going to throw one guy out there that I love in this game. You're probably going to agree with me. Evan Ingram at plus 215. This dude scored last week. I love him every single week. He's such a big body. He runs great routes. I think he's one of the most underrated tight ends in the entire league. I have him in the 4 or 5 spot in all tight ends of this entire league. So I really like Evan Ingram here. It's plus 2 something no matter where you look. So I'm going to go Evan Ingram and lock him in. Who you looking at?
I do love your Evan Ingram one. I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley. He does lead the Jaguars in touchdown receptions with 5 so far this year. He has built a really good connection with Trevor Lawrence over the last few weeks. And in a game like this where the Jags are going to need to win, I can see Trevor Lawrence just feeding Calvin Ridley, the best wide receiver in this game, as many times as possible. So I like Calvin Ridley for the Jags. And honestly, I like Keaton Mitchell for the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're going to run the ball a ton, and he is one of the most explosive players in the league. So I think Keaton Mitchell, with how much speed and attention he can have for this Baltimore offense, I think he can have a chance to score.
Does it not worry you that Lamar can run it in? Gus is the number 1. Why are you going with the number 2? Just out of curiosity. Technically the number 3, if you want to look at it like that.
It does worry me a little bit with the fact that they have 2 other guys who could easily run it in, but I think that's part of it. I think they're going to see a point in the red zone where they have Gus Edwards off the field for a play just to get him some rest, and so much attention is going to be put on Lamar Jackson on a QB read that they just ignore Keaton Mitchell, and he is so dynamic and so fast. He's they all think he's the fastest player on that team, and that's a team with Lamar Jackson, with OBJ, with Zay Flowers. Like, this is a fast team, and Keaton Mitchell, they say, is the fastest guy on that team. He is, I believe, climbing up there in touchdowns. He only has 2 on the year, so it's not the best number to look at, but I think this is a game where the Jags I think this is just a game where the Jags just kind of forget about him and they let him run it in on an easy touchdown.
Okay. Guys, I'm going to lock in one more just so that we have 4 for you, because if we have 4 for you, that means if we hit 2, we make a good amount of money. I'm locking in Travis Etienne Jr., running back for Jacksonville. I think you have to. I ain't going to lie to you. This guy screwed me on more occasions than one this year when it comes to getting in. So I don't love him at -105, but I do see him at +110 on some other books. I think it's worth it if you can get Etienne at plus money. Anything above +100, love that. There's the other 3 for you. Keaton Mitchell, Calvin Ridley, and Evan Ingram, anytime touchdown scores. Good luck in that one, guys. That's going to be a high-flying, fun football game. Or the Ravens are going to get completely exposed, put up 6 points, and we're going to know exactly where the AFC stands. So should be a fun one, my man. Before we get out of here, looking at your favorite dog of the week on the money line, not at the spread. Do you have one dog, maybe even 2 dogs that are just straight up jumping off the board for you?
Yeah, I have at least one, and you're gonna love this one because it's going against your guy Derek Carr. I like the New York Giants against the New Orleans Saints. They're playing some of the best football in the NFL right now. It's wild to say, but they're on a 3-game win streak, and Tommy DeVito is playing at such a high level right now. It's incredible to watch. Brian Daboll seems like he's enjoying coaching again. And this Saints team, they're a mess. It seems like every other week now they find a new way to just implode and play horrible football. So the Giants playing really good football. Tommy DeVito, maybe he continues his magic. And you get massive money. They're 6-point dogs, and you get +210 on them. I like the Giants to beat the Saints in that one.
Ooh, all right, Bryson. Let me just tell you right now, man. Anytime Derek Carr is on the hot seat getting faded, I'm in. Say less. +210. Look, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. Obviously, should the Giants win this football game? Hell no, they should not win this football game. But you never know. I like that one. Let me throw one more out at you. That's kind of like that game where we shouldn't be having this conversation, but we probably should have this conversation. Is the 9-point underdog New York Jets on the road at the Miami Dolphins, over under 37.5 points. Zach Wilson looking like he's playing free football. Aaron Rodgers right on the brink of coming back. If they find a way to win a ton of football games, they might just have a chance to make a little bit of noise and ruin the season for a few other teams here. So New York Jets +350 on the money line. Is there any way it's worth just the littlest Tommy DeVito sprinkle?
I think for sure there's at least a little bit you can spread on there. I like the more at the 8.5. I definitely think the Jets could make this a 1-score game, but I think there's at least enough evidence to put a little bit on that money line. This Dolphins team, they're not playing great football, and this Jets team, they have a good defense. If Zach Wilson is somewhat competent in a game, the Jets have a chance to win more often than not.
And guys, we talked about the Dolphins being this football team that couldn't beat good football teams. Now they can't beat bad football teams. So here we are. I'm not going to lie to you. My gut tells me Miami's going to come in here and shit stomp these boys because they are embarrassed by the way that they played football the other night. They were up 14 points in 3 minutes at home and they lost the game. But just be careful here, guys. It's +350. Live a little bit. Maybe give it a little sprinkle. This is nothing major. We're just trying to find a couple dogs that might, maybe not even take them, but it might just leave them out of your parlay because they might screw you kind of dogs. So I got another one I got to ask you about here. That is the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields +150 on the road at the Cleveland Browns. I know. Look, Anthony came up in here and he was like, man, Joe Flacco, he's a dog. I think they're going to win the division, blah, blah, blah. Look, I'm not convinced by Joe Flacco. I will give the defense their credit. Myles Garrett, they are a freaking problem. But Justin Fields playing good football. I don't know what it takes for everyone to give Justin Fields his credit, but the kid looks good. He looks like he's fighting for his job. He's trying to win every game he can so that they get a shittier quarterback that's going to replace him. He's trying his best to win football games. I like the Bears here at the +150. A lot of people are fading this pick. Only 8% of the money is on Chicago to win. Add me to that list.
I don't love them to win. This is another one like the Dolphins when we just talked about. I like them more on the spread. I know that this Browns defense got exposed a little bit against the Jaguars a week ago, but it is the best home defense in the NFL. I think they give up somewhere around like 13 points a game at home. I know Justin Fields is playing well. This is the best defense he's played probably all season. I can see it being a situation where it's a 2-point game, or even if it's a 2-point game and the Bears have the ball to go on a game-winning drive, and Justin Fields, he's not good at game-winning drives. Even as well as Justin has played, he still struggles on those. And Myles Garrett comes around for a strip sack. Denzel Ward comes in for a pick. Something like that happens. So I wouldn't trust the Bears enough to win, but I can see it being a close enough game to take them on the spread.
The reason I'm not willing to take them on the spread, and I see what you're saying 100%, is because what you just said, they will strip sack him or pick six him on the final play of the damn game, and they'll win by 10 points, and then I'm going to want to lose my freaking mind. So I'm only touching them if I can go ahead and go money line straight and just try to get the win. And if I lose in that one. But I think 3 points, I would need about 7.5 with the Bears in that one for me to really like them at the spread. But I hear what you're saying. One more dog I got to ask you about. I think the Arizona Cardinals at home to beat the – I'm kidding. Totally kidding. Totally kidding. But, guys, I do have one more dog for you to find to scare you guys for a second. But, hey, Cardinals money line, you heard it here first. Tampa Bay – please don't put your money on that. Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus 3.5 on the road at the Packers. They are plus 160 on the money line. I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the spot, Bryson. I've been hyping up Baker Mayfield all year. He got me again last week. I love this boy. I love how he plays football. Do you like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers outright to upset the Packers, who seem to be in a bit of a tailspin?
I do think that they have a chance to beat the Packers. I do like Tampa Bay in this spot a lot. Jordan Love is coming off the first bad game he's had in a while. He was playing really good football. This Packers team was turning things around, and they were coming in, and they're a playoff team at the moment. But this Bucs team, they're looking to keep their lead on that division. They're currently winning it right now. Baker Mayfield's playing at a high level. Mike Evans seems to be in sync with Baker. Those two are on the same page seemingly every time. This Buccaneers defense is playing better. I think this is a tough spot for the Packers. Coming in, they're banged up. They've got a lot of guys either questionable or out for this game. I think this is a really good spot to take the Buccaneers as a dog pick.
I'm with you guys. We're going to go Buccaneers money line. Also, I think Buccaneers plus 3.5 here, Bryson. You can find them at 4. I think them at the spread is just a great pick this week. There's just no way I can lay any points with the Packers, but I know we're playing the money line game. So once again, sprinkle that, guys. So honestly, guys, you guys could sprinkle the Cowboys as dogs this week if you really want to. You could try the Jags if you're really feeling lucky. Definitely like the Buccaneers. Maybe sprinkle the Bears, sprinkle the Giants, sprinkle the Jets. Like, all of these games, even if you don't take these teams to Broncos, even if you don't take these teams to win the game, guys, maybe keep them out of your big long shot parlays that you're trying to do, because all of these teams are susceptible to it. And I'm going to tell you right now, of the 6 we just threw out there, I will be shocked if a minimum of 2 of those do not just outright win the game here. There's no way we're going 0 for 6, Bryson. That ain't how the NFL works.
Yeah.
So, guys, look, good luck to you this week. Going to be a fun one. Week 15, so sad to see the regular season coming to an end, but that just means we have playoffs right around the corner, which, hey, everybody knows is the best time of the year. Please check out sportsforumdenver.com one more time. Going to have some NFL articles for you up all weekend. Definitely a Broncos article, definitely a Jaguars and a Ravens article as well. One more time, enter our giveaway for those Denver Broncos tickets. That's Mr. Bryson Owens. I'm Riggs Tamburo. We will see you guys for week 16. Have a good weekend.